You know that feeling when an edit just hits? Like it feels smooth, it feels effortless, it feels expensive, and you're not really sure what it is about it, but it just flows. That's not luck. Well, I guess sometimes it is. That's a seasoned editor guiding a viewer's eyes through a film. So when we talk about smooth editing, it's basically just one principle. Editing is all about cutting between clips and guiding a viewer's eyes through a scene. A viewer moving their eyes is actually a physical action, and the more that you move your eyes, the more tired you become. Every time there's a cut between a shot, the viewer has to rearrange and reframe the scene. That's because every cut is a handoff, and when that handoff is smooth and clean, the cut becomes invisible. And that's when people start to comment things like, "This is so satisfying, that feels so cinematic," even if the shots are super simple. This fluidity between cuts is what I like to call the flow of motion, and it's an easy identifier between a beginning editor and a seasoned professional. Both a beginner editor and a seasoned editor start with the same clips, but the difference is how well you can connect the shots together. And this flow of motion is what I want to talk about today. Basically, how you can get better as an editor and make your edits feel a little bit more seamless. I want to talk about three things: direction, motion-to-motion cuts, and how to reduce the strain on your viewer's eye. Okay, so first up I want to talk about direction, and this is basically the direction of movement that's flowing within your scene. When you go through your scenes and select your clips, typically there's a type of motion. It's either A, there's a specific motion within your scene, so that could be a car driving from one side to the other. It could be someone walking. It's basically a type of movement that flows either from left to right or top to bottom. That's typically when your camera is stationary and the movement is occurring in your scene. The other type of direction is camera movement. So that could be your camera on, let's say, a gimbal, and you're walking from left to right or right to left, or you have your camera physically moving up to down or dolling in or out. Those are just a couple different examples, but there are many different ways a camera can move. So either there's a direction of movement within the scene, or your camera is moving in a specific direction. The easiest way to make a scene feel smooth is direction consistency. Let me give you an example. In this first clip, I'm moving the camera physically on a gimbal from left to right. It's a slow rotational movement, and it's moving at a steady pace. In the second clip, this transition was basically a match cut, and I have the same movement moving from left to right. By cutting these two clips together on the same movement, you then create a seamless cut because the direction of movement is the same across the two clips. If I were to, instead of cutting together on the movement, but rather reverse the second clip or have a different clip that I've selected that goes the opposite direction, the cut between the two clips just doesn't feel as smooth. The two clips that you're cutting between don't have to be the same exact clip. It doesn't have to be a match cut. This direction consistency applies to many different styles of clips. If motion travels across your scene in the same direction, your brain just connects dots and it just feels seamless. As you're going through and you're selecting clips and you're figuring out which clips align with each other, keep direction in mind. Figure out whether A, it's a static shot or not. If it's a static shot, think about how the motion is moving across your frame. What direction is the general motion? And if it's a shot where you're physically moving the camera, think about the movement of the camera, what direction that camera is moving in. Then as you think about the connecting shots, just think about the direction. Think about how you can flow between the two directions in a seamless manner. They don't always have to be exactly the same motion, but you want to avoid any sort of jarring motion in terms of either reversing that motion too suddenly or abruptly stopping the motion. Obviously, if you're going for a different type of emotion, you could use these to your benefit, but today we're just talking about the flow of motion and how to make things feel a little bit smoother. The obvious caveat to this is you don't want the flow of motion or the direction to be consistent throughout your entire video. Then all of a sudden becomes really monotonous. The way that you reset the motion between series of frames and allow yourself the creative flexibility to move between different motions throughout a film or throughout a video is you need a palette cleanser. You need a still frame. It's basically a neutral shot to reset the viewer's eye where there's not too much motion going on. Those are the frames that you could use between flow of motions that allows you to then change your motion to different angles, different ways. These neutral shots are what allows you to reset the viewer's eyes and combine different motions in different sequences together to create an overall film. Now, building on this direction concept, an easy way that I like to cut is on motion. Motion to motion cuts are basically a cheat code. They're the easiest way to trick a viewer's eyes between cuts and make things feel really seamless. The concept is basically you're going to cut the first scene at the peak velocity or the peak motion sequence, and then the second scene you're going to start mid-motion, mid-action. You're basically exiting the first scene in motion and you're entering the second scene in motion so that the cut feels really smooth. To give you an example, one thing I like to do all the time is cut on head turns on my cinematic content. When you're filming humans, a lot of times they're looking around, their head's turning, and so in this first scene here, you could see Peace, he's moving his head left to right or right to left. And in the second scene here, I have Tatsuki. He's also moving his head in the same direction. The easiest way to cut between these two clips is on the direction of that head movement. And to make sure it feels continuous, you want to cut in the same direction. So as P starts to turn his head, right as it gets to about halfway point, that's when I cut to the second scene of Tatsuki turning his head. And that's an easy way to create this continuous motion across 2 frames. If you start to look at a lot of my work, you'll notice this head turning cut just because it's such an easy way to both allow for a still frame and then have motion within that frame cut continuously, very smoothly between 2 different shots. This works with a bunch of different types of motion. You don't have to do head turning. You could do arms moving. You could do different types of body motions, or if you're not filming people, there's different types of motions where you cut. Basically, you allow for peak velocity to occur in the first scene, and then you cut it. And then in your second scene, you cut mid motion or mid action so that that action continues fluidly throughout the scene. A big reason why you want to cut on that peak velocity is that's because that's the moment where there's the most motion blur or the most action. And when you're cutting, you basically want to hide your cuts. So by cutting on the peak motion blur, your eyes can't get adjusted to your scene, and it basically allows the cut to be really fluid. It's basically your brain being too focused on what's happening within the scene, and then they forget about the actual scenes being cut between each other. So again, exit with motion and then enter with motion. That's the easiest way to create a seamless cut. Before we hop into the next tip, let me take a second to thank the sponsor of today's video, Higgsfield. If you're a filmmaker, editor, content creator, or creative director, you probably already know Higgsfield for the transitions and generative video. But they just launched something new called Cinema Studio, and this is where it gets pretty interesting. Cinema Studio is built specifically for cinematic control. Instead of just prompting a random clip, you're directing a scene. You can control camera movement, lens feel, framing, and how motion evolves across the shot. It feels way more intentional. What I like about Cinema Studio is that you can start from a strong hero frame and then build motion from that. So your lighting, composition, and character consistency actually holds up. You're not fighting weird morphing or broken physics halfway through the clip. It's especially powerful for stylized cutaways, conceptual B-roll, or building moments you just couldn't realistically shoot. You can treat it like a virtual production environment instead of a gimmick generator. For me, the biggest use case is cinematic inserts and transitions between real footage. You can design a controlled push-in, orbit, or environmental shift that feels grounded instead of chaotic. If you want to try out Cinema Studio or any of the other models inside Higgsfield, I'll have a link down below with some extra perks. Definitely check it out. And thanks again to Higgsfield for sponsoring today's episode. So the final section of this video that I want to talk about is basically how do you reduce the amount of eye work, the amount of eye strain a viewer has when they're viewing your film. One of the biggest reasons videos feel premium, they feel smooth, they feel pleasant to watch is because the viewer doesn't have to do a lot of work focusing when they're watching the video. As an editor, you basically want to think about how you're building your symphony. How are you framing up different things within your scenes to allow a viewer to naturally follow either the flow of motion or just follow the framing and the location of important things in your frames throughout clips. Next time you're watching one of your favorite movies, think about the location of important actors or important pieces of information within your frame. A lot of times they're set basically dead smack in the middle, or they're in similar locations through different cuts. You basically want to make your viewer's life as easy as possible. Between 2 different frames, in the first frame, if you have something very important in the bottom left hand of your corner, you don't want your second frame to start with a very stark, important piece of information in the top right, because between the 2 frames, there's a lot of real estate that your eyes have to wander from one corner to the next corner. The viewer gets tired and they don't want to do that work. Your viewer wants to be lazy. They want to just sit back, relax, and enjoy your masterpiece. As you're thinking about your cuts and you want your flow of motion to be smooth, then try to lead your viewers slowly into different locations, or either keep the center of focus in the same location between shots. This concept is the reason why match cuts work so well, is because you're already focused on a certain area. Let's say this is like a circle match cut. You're already looking at this circle in the middle of your frame, and as it cuts between 2 different scenes or a multitude of different scenes, you're not doing any work. You're just kind of just staring at the same location in the screen, and the screen's doing all the work for you. If that were to jump across your screen and your frame into different locations, there'd be too much going on. You start to get confused and you start to get fatigued. That kills fluidity and that tires the viewer out. The faster the cuts are between scenes, the more important that this is. If you're going very slowly between 2 different scenes, obviously these tips aren't for that. This is for if you're doing like fast cuts to medium pace cuts in a traditional edit for socials or even short films. That's where you want to be very cognizant of how you're cutting and the location of your information in your frame. Smooth editing isn't always about doing more. Sometimes it's just about doing less and reducing the burden of strain on your viewer's eyes. So yeah, if you want your edits to feel more smooth and you want your flow of motion to feel more premium, try those 3 steps out. Try to make your direction stay consistent across your frames. The motion continues smooth through the cut, and try to make sure your viewer doesn't have to search between your frames. That's basically the flow of motion. Next time you watch maybe your favorite editor's pieces, or you watch a really good sequence in a movie, try to think about the flow of motion between the frames and try to dissect why the video that you just watched feels so smooth, it feels so natural, and it feels so pleasing. More often than not, it's probably one of these principles. The editor of that film is a composer, and they're trying to guide the viewer's eyes in a specific way, a specific fashion, to evoke a specific emotion. Now, not all videos obviously have to have a super smooth flow of motion. This isn't for every video in any editing situation. If you're making horror films or sports documentaries or something building up, there's different ways to cut, obviously. But just understanding these principles and knowing why a video may feel smooth, and then using that to your advantage to cut the flow of motion and evoke different emotions is a great way to level up your editing skill set. If you have any questions on anything we covered today, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. Or if you have any tips or tricks on how you edit, I'm always happy to learn those and hear about those, and I think it helps everybody in the community. If you enjoy my color grading, my sound design, my animations, any of my assets, they'll be linked down below my shop. It's a huge help to the channel. And if you're still watching, leave the word flow down in the comments below so that I know you made it to the end of the video and you're a real one. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.